Welcome to Psychology of the Daf. We are in Gemara Pesachim on Daf Samach Tes. In today's discussion, we're going to look at the idea of sacrifice and self-sacrifice. How do you know the difference between acts that are noble and that is self-destructive? Now the Gemara on the end of Amud Aleph notes that even a routine bris milah in a healthy child induces a state of danger. And this got me thinking about mitzvahs that we perform, and many of them, from a physical perspective, are unhealthy, but they're still mandated. Here are a few examples. Childbirth and labor, though a routine part of life and part of the mitzvah of Periya Uravia, is dangerous. It's significant that Rav Moshe in Igros Moshe Yerodea, Volume 2, Tshuva 74, paskins that the reason why we're not allowed to induce labor for frivolous reasons, non-medical reasons, is because labor itself is really a danger. And it's only when labor happens in God's time that there's a special protection, a special segula, that it shouldn't be deadly. But in point of fact, labor itself is a situation of great danger to health. And there are other mitzvahs that are also hard on a person's health. Aside from bris milah, there's fasting, there's a halach in Shulchan Aruch and Orach Chaim, Siman Reish Ayin Beis, Sif Yud, that one should drink the arba kosas, even if it makes him or her sick. There's studying Torah to the point of physical exhaustion, as discussed in the Gemara Pesachim on Daf Pei Gimel Lamed Beis. So this whole collection of sacrifices, does it add up to some kind of meaningful theme? And I think it's important to realize that there's no such thing as religion without sacrifice. It's a basic human need to voluntarily abstain or dedicate something or some behavior that is within the locus of control and to offer to a higher cause. From an anthropological viewpoint, sacrifices in ancient civilizations, and really in all civilizations, involve a number of recurring but interchangeable dynamics. So there is the sacrifice that is a gift for the deity, often a first fruit or bounty. There's self-sacrifice and abnegation, holding back from pleasures. There's a scapegoat to expiate the sin. By the way, the term scapegoat itself comes from the avoda on Yom Kippur, where the goat is thrown over the cliff in order to achieve forgiveness for the Jewish people. The goat basically is the scapegoat. He takes the blame for the sins of Klal Yisrael. And then there's also a kind of sacrifice that seems to, through a ritual, achieve a supernatural bonding with the deity or some kind of symbolic transfer of ritual objects into something holier. Now, sacrifice even exists in a secular or atheistic mode. Are we to assume that the only soldiers that ever fall on a grenade for their colleagues or make a sacrifice in order to save their fellow soldiers? Are we to believe that it's only because they have a belief in the world to come and a reward that's waiting for them? That's counterintuitive. As Lincoln said in the Gettysburg Address, those who here gave their lives that the nation may live, while believing in a higher power might incentivize sacrifice, as in hoping the higher power will reward you, really all that's necessary for a sacrifice is believing in a higher cause, such as liberty or justice. And in truth, it's inescapable that sacrifice to some degree is a pattern of instinctive behavior. Even certain animals display a kind of altruism, and you could look up the research on naked mole rats and how they enact altruism, real self-sacrifice for the entire hive, deriving no benefit. And unless they're like the frogs described in the Medrash about the Makkah of Tzfardea, they're not getting a reward for it either. Anyway, looking at it anthropologically, we just described some of the reasons why people or what a sacrifice represents and how its mechanisms operate. From a psychoanalytic point of view, it's a little bit different. One could see sacrifice as a kind of a violent urge that's being diverted or sublimated toward the individual, like through self-punishment, or even communal violence toward outsiders by enacting some type of violence against a sacrificial object, be it an animal or in some kind of cultures a human sacrifice. It's not accidental that blood, the symbol of life and death, is often involved in sacrifice. The Paschal lamb was both a protection and a declaration of the Jewish people as a unit, the blood hinting at the slaughter of the Egyptians, as in the phrase, like lamb to the slaughter. And circumcision and labor also involve considerable blood and aggression. So, of what practical significance is all this analysis? And I believe in order to enact fully the value of any human process or experience, it's important to know what it is that we're doing, and that many human experiences are best experienced through some kind of mindful process where we allow ourselves, without analyzing it too deeply, allow ourselves to enjoy it. One doesn't enjoy music by analyzing it. If you go to a music theory course, you can learn a great deal about the music, but you do not enjoy the music except by listening to it. One does not enjoy a flower by studying all the biological mechanisms. One enjoys a flower by looking at the flower. And same with sleeping and eating. And the truth is, even sacrifice is like that. There's an instinct to do sacrifice. There's an instinct to somehow or another elevate some process in our lives to a higher power. Now, while we're not going to experience sensual pleasure by making sacrifice, sacrifice can be sublimely pleasurable. And when the dictates of our conscience, our values, or our religion guide us towards self-sacrifice, we should allow ourselves to tap into this fulfilling pattern and instinct of human behavior in order to get the most from it instead of resenting it.